And now, for a moment of clarity.
So, America, y'all waking up this morning to a 25% tax on your toys, your electronics, your fresh produce, lumber, and cars. 10% tax if it's coming from China. Y'all don't think this is, you're not going to feel this? In what universe do you not, does someone not pass on their costs to you? Mm-hmm. Tell me what universe. And would you, as a business owner, if I increased your costs by 25% or 10%, you're not passing that on to your customers? Are you just going to eat it? You're going to increase your cost to run your business by that percentage or more and not pass it on? That's how the economy works. And the folks in the White House think you're ignorant enough to believe that you're not going to feel this. Mm-hmm. That our economic community is not intertwined. We are as much a part of the economy of Mexico and Canada as they are of ours.
American consumers and businesses, they import more goods from Mexico than any other country. Like, that's been in all of the reporting. And to be clear, some people will say, some critics will say, well, they can just find other sources. But for people that do not have alternatives, if there's not another alternative to sourcing your materials or your whatever the good is from Mexico or Canada, they'll just be forced to pay.
And the impact of this, as in all things, trickles down. And the folks who are going to be hurt the most, Alicia, are the poor. The people who live in the poorest communities are not going to be able to carry the weight of these tariffs. They never have throughout history.
So what do you think is their calculus, the political calculus here?
I think he thinks that they're going to fold and they're going to.
He's going to look strong.
That he's going to look strong. I do think he thinks that it's going in effect today. He thinks that Mexico and Canada are going to come to the table, probably Canada before Mexico, because Prime Minister Trudeau has literally said, like,
his
I'm out of
government's
here.
Collapsing.
Exactly. The government has collapsed. I think Sheinbaum is not playing games.
I don't think that's going to work in Mexico.
Well, it remains to be seen. But the fact is that he told us he was going to do this. People said, oh, I think it's just a concept. And he did it. Just like he's saying he's going to be putting tariffs on oil and gas in the next several weeks. Y'all better believe he's going to do it. My question is my Shein order going up? Not if I'm ordering Shein, but, I'm just saying. Yeah,
and put oil and gas. You don't think the price of gas is going to go up? And they want the price of gas to go to drill, baby, drill? Seriously?
I mean, if people thought J. Edgar Hoover was bad, honey, Kash Patel ain't got J. Edgar Hoover ain't got nothing on Kash Patel.
Nothing. Can I just look? This whole Kash Patel crap can be summed up in one quote from him. So let it come out of his own mouth, so we know exactly what he thinks about the job that he's being asked to do. This is his. Give me E34.
Oh. Hoover Building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state.
That's all you need to know. I don't give a damn what he says after that, because that tells you the sum and substance of the next FBI director right there. And if you work in the building, that's the person you don't want coming in the door on day one. Because that's what he wants to do. That's what he thinks of the men and women who sacrifices their life every day for us. He wants to open up their office, their building, their field operations as a museum to the deep state, of which, by the way, this whole made-up fanciful thing. So for someone like yourself, who's put their life on the line in government service and worked with men and women who have, what does that say when you hear someone like that coming into a position of authority and power over you? Look at your job and go, you're just a museum piece. In the wake of the mid-air collision near Washington, Donald Trump chose to pull the country apart rather than together. After declaring it to be an hour of anguish for our nation, Trump just 5 minutes later tried to blame diversity policies promoted by Presidents Biden and Obama for the crash.
The FAA's diversity and inclusion hiring plan, which says diversity is integral to achieving FAA's mission of ensuring safe and efficient travel. I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
Can we play more?
You can play more. Play some more.
Donald Trump says he knows DEI is to blame because he has common sense.
Yeah, he has common sense. The most ignorant statement from a president in a very horrific moment for the nation. It had been 20 years since we've had an airline tragedy like this.
No survivors.
No survivors. 60 plus families in mourning, a nation shocked and in mourning. And this man wants to blame prior administrations' DEI policies. He wants to set a blame narrative in place as the nation is trying to grip itself around the idea of what just happened. We see now the images. People are watching the planes collide, the explosion. You know what's happening there. And he has that to offer us. This insensitive, cold response to an American moment. Folks, we've seen this so many times before, and it's, for me, I'm really trying to be good with my language here because I can't.
There are families that are in pain right now.
There are families that are in pain right now, and out of respect for them, I'm not going to share exactly what I think about the man sitting in the White House at this moment. But I think we all should walk away feeling less supported and less lifted up around his comments. So let's look to each other to support these families and the communities that are affected, and not deal with the individual who clearly has no sensitivity or heart regarding the tragedy in front of the country.
The Democratic National Committee has to retool itself and make changes immediately to respond to the current environment, but also be proactive for the voters that they're trying to seek.
Their first test is this November. You've got 2 races in New Jersey and one really big one in Virginia for the governorship there, and how you develop that messaging, that strategy, how you engage the grassroots in the state, that will set up the modeling for what will happen next year. So the chairman now has to really think strategically, and he's noted as a strategic thinker. But Politico does make some interesting points, and I'd be curious your thoughts on this, Alicia, as well. They say in selecting Martin, Democrats did little to answer some of the deepest questions their party faces as they search for a path out of the political wilderness. Cutting through that, I note this last sentence. Notably, Martin said during his campaign for chair that the party already has the right message.
Yes, he was consistent in saying that.
And he's consistent in saying that, but you can be consistently wrong if the facts don't bear that out. And I don't think the facts bear that out, because if you had the right message, your fate would be a little bit different.
I don't think that's true.
Well, yeah, you're hanging on the hat that you didn't lose as much as you thought you would have lost in the environment that you were in. But there is something about the messaging that is at the core of what you've got to do in the fall, in my estimation. But, look, what do I know about messaging, right? All I know is how to do it. And so it's how you set up your win. It's like any game, you got to set it up, and you set it up with the messaging. And so, anyway, that's just me, but,
It's just a little faux humility to get us started on this Sunday morning.
What does he know about the messaging? I was just the chair of I was just the chair of the RNC, the first black man to chair the RNC. What do I know about messaging?
Catch Michael Steele on The Weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on MSNBC.